Mark chapter 3, verse 23 through 26. And he called them unto him, and said unto them in parables, How can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but has an end.
This Sunday, a divided America.
People are enraged on both sides of the issue, and it's completely tearing this community apart.
The country split in two on multiple fronts. One battlefield, COVID and masks.
Masks do not stop the spread of this virus. It only stops the spread of friendship and learning.
This is all smoke and mirrors. This is tyranny.
Even as the pandemic is again killing 1,500 Americans a day.
I feel like I'm in some weird twilight zone, why we're still going over wearing masks and having safe schools for our kids. It's bananas.
And a good Sunday morning. The U.S. enters this Labor Day weekend suffering from two viruses, COVID and polarization. It is not an exaggeration to say that we are more divided than at any time, perhaps since the 1960s and frankly, maybe since the Civil War. As one of our guests today put it, we used to be divided over issues like abortion and guns. We're kind of used to those divisions, and we still are divided on those two issues. But now, we can't even agree about COVID or January 6th. COVID has become an MRI of America's soul. Who would have imagined that masks, wearing or refusing them, would become such a political statement? This morning, we're going to take a look at how and why we're so divided, primarily through the lens of two issues. One is COVID, where the 7-day average of infections has risen to more than 161,000, driven largely by vaccine hesitancy and refusal. The other is abortion. The Supreme Court letting stand, at least for now, that restrictive Texas law that has left abortion opponents believing Roe could finally be overturned and pro-choice advocates fearing they may be right. With the country increasingly divided by geography, race, age, education, the question we're asking this morning, do we have the political leadership to meet this treacherous political moment?
People are enraged on both sides of the issue, and it's completely tearing this community apart.
The political divide has become deadly, with vaccine hesitancy driven by misinformation and the politicizing of the virus, leading to the harassment of healthcare workers, hospitalizations, and deaths.
Things are just escalating. The rhetoric, the bullying.
I feel like I'm in some weird twilight zone, why we're still going over wearing masks.
Just 53% of Americans are fully vaccinated. Despite the nation's early start, that rate trails more than 30 other countries. As COVID hospitalizations and deaths rise, red states with the lowest vaccination rates are driving the surge.
You got to help me get the people vaccinated.
We are suffering the most at a time when it is the most preventable.
In a recent NBC News poll, just 55% of Republicans said they were vaccinated, compared to 88% of Democrats. Among Republicans who said they support Donald Trump over the Republican Party, the number was even lower, 46%. 79% of Democrats favor a vaccine requirement. 75% of Republicans oppose it.
Do you regret not getting the vaccine?
Absolutely, I 100% regret it.
What were some of the things you were hearing?
That the vaccine was not a real vaccine, that it was like a tracking chip the government was trying to use on us.
Misinformation has spread rapidly on conservative media.
A plan is now underway to use vaccine mandates to take your guns.
Virtually everything they told us about the COVID vaccine was wrong.
And on social media.
What's in the vaccine? Give me the insert sheet.
We literally have come up with an incredibly safe and efficacious vaccine. People are behind me screaming about how it's tyranny and it's communism.
There are also sharp divisions between the two Americas over the results of the election, the January 6th insurrection, the border, guns, and abortion. Now likely to produce a national political battle leading up to the next election.